Hello. So the next step is that we start to type our code. Now there are 3 codes which we are going to learn to type during this holiday. The first is HTML, Hypertext Markup Language. The next is CSS, Cascading Style Sheet. And the fourth is JavaScript, which is shortened as JS. So these are not the only languages that we use to set up the web page, but they are the 3 fundamental languages that we use to set up the web page. So I'll start with HTML in this first class. Once you click on new, you saw the way I went about that, new, it brings you to this untitled page. On this untitled page, then it gives you the option to select a language. Don't forget the language I told you we are starting with is HTML. I'll click on this and just type HTML. You can see the HTML here. So as with languages, there is a structural, a markup, or a backbone to every language. In English or in spoken languages like English, French, and Spanish, and all those other languages, we call it grammar. The grammatical setup is the structure that you have to follow when you are putting sentences together. And when you don't follow that structural or the structural rules, the rules governing it, they say you have spoken English wrongly. You have not structured it well. Okay, so if you don't set the sentence right, the way it's supposed to be, following the English grammar, then you are said to have structured your English sentence wrongly. So also with HTML, there's a way you set it up. HTML has a kind of backbone, has a skeleton to it, which you fill up. And if you violate the rules of HTML, then you are said to have wrongly structured your HTML language. And there are ways by which the parser, the browser, because the browser is a software that reads the language, there are ways by which it will react, either by not structuring your HTML document well, or by structuring it wrongly as unintended. So what are the things that your HTML document should have? HTML document should have your HTML documents must always have these. Now you can see these things that we call tags. Basically we have words between opening and closing brackets, angular bracket, and you're wondering, it's like you have them in pairs. You have one here, you have another one here, you have one here, you have another one here, you have one here, you have another one here. Usually they define the scope of what you are trying to structure. Like for instance, you have your HTML, everything has to go within this tag. Then you have 2 parts of your HTML, the head and the body. The content of the web page goes into the body, while the information, what we call metadata, information about information of the web page, goes into the head. So you have things such as title, meta, and so on and so forth. But just to keep it simple, I will just do something simple here in our first HTML document. My first HTML document. And then here I'll go ahead and just add additional 2 tags, h1, heading, and p, which are one of the 2 most popular tags, heading tag and the paragraph tag. Now I'll just put just the sample text that you're wondering what is Latin all about. It's just a placeholder text just to fill up my web page. So the next thing I will do to end up this second video is to save this document as HTML. I'll come right here and call it my first dot. Like a music file will have the extension .mp3. A video file will have the extension .mp4. Okay, and once you see .pdf, you know this is a document file. So also an HTML document will have the extension .htm or .html. That's how we recognize an HTML document. So now I'll save and I'll try to open it up so you can see the product of our first HTML page. And you're supposed to do exactly this, just to be sure that you understand up to this point. So this is the folder where I saved it as my first .html. Of course, you won't see the extension .html. I'm going to double click on this now. Open it with Firefox. Now you can see. Now what are the things you see immediately? You should see my first HTML document. You should see heading. And you should see this Latin I've typed here, which is my placeholder text. So what I'm saying invariably is you can see the title placed here, you can see the heading placed there, and you can see the content of the paragraph placed here. Try to write your own version of HTML with a couple of more heading and paragraph. Save it with the extension .html and try to preview. If it shows fine, then you can proceed to the third video. Well done.